All right, to finish up with our course, I'm going to show you one last thing that will really complete your beginner stage, which is when you get to your dashboards to have a little bit more control and functionality. And we're going to add a lot of the elements that we've learned along the way to create that interactive dashboard. And up to this point, we've really just been doing a single sheet. Oops, where am I going? We've really just done a single sheet of information, put it into a dashboard and one filter. But how do you have multiple items in there, right? And have those filter controls. And that's really the last bit we're going to do for this section. So I'm going to go ahead and create just a few things that we can filter with. So I'm going to bring in category, subcategory. Let's bring in some sales, right? So that's the first one. Okay, let's bring in a value. I'm not going to get too fancy with these. I'm really just wanting to create several views. So let's say we got category, subcategory. Let's create a new sheet. Let's do a map of some sort, maybe just the country, like so. And we're going to bring in the sales as well by color. Okay, that's another one. And maybe one more. Let's bring in segment. Okay, and let's bring in your quantity. Right, let's bring that in here. All right, so we get a quantity. And I want to have these as a single dashboard because that's what I want to show my bosses. I'm going to go into this dashboard button right here. Let's click that. And we're going to bring in 4, 5, and 6. Let's drop that in there. Let's make this a bit smaller. Not that one. This one here. So 4, 5, and 6. Maybe that one's right there. Okay. And in the previous section, I think it was in the accelerator program, you learned how to do, actually, let's bring that over there. You learned how to do the use as filter, which is this one right here. But what if you wanted to add more filters, right? Let's get rid of this. I want to do that, right? I can do this stuff. But let's say you wanted to add more filters that aren't in your actual view, or you want to have more control with your filters. The first one is if I right click here, I go analysis, filters, and I bring in, let's say, category. I've got these categories now. But if I do anything to it, it only applies to this one, right? Only applies to this one. I want it to apply to all of it. So the way I do that is if I click on this little triangle, I go apply to worksheets, selected worksheets, and it's going to let me pick these other graphics, right? So I'm going to go 5 and 6, go OK. Therefore, even though we didn't use subcategory in this one and in this one, right, this filter now applies to the whole thing. So if I get rid of copiers, right, you'll probably notice it more with the numbers. So let's say I add this number here and maybe this number, right? So if I start doing this, you notice that the numbers are changing. It's just very small, right? But it is changing. So you can do that. But you can do other things as well where you have a particular parameter, or no, I shouldn't say parameter, a filter that isn't on your dashboard at all. And here's how you would do that. So let's go all, let's bring those all back. And I can pick any of these, it doesn't really matter. I'm gonna go sheet 4, right? And I wanna, for example, bring in, let's say one that's not in our graphics anywhere, product name, let's say. I drop that in product name. And I can go use all, okay? Product name. And as you can see in our dashboard, we still don't have product name, but I can add that into my dashboard. So if I go analysis, I go filters, product name, all right? And I've got it right here. I'm gonna get rid of this other one. Don't really need it, okay? And again, this only applies to this one right here. I want it to apply to everything. So again, we click here, triangle, apply to worksheets, selected worksheets. I'm going to do it for all 3. Okay, there we go. And you can do this for any filter type. Now, one little thing you will now notice, and you won't notice it straight away. If I go back to this sheet 4, right, I can either click here or click on this button, right, go to sheet. I've got product name and I've also got this symbol now, which means it's being used in multiple sheets. And if it's used in multiple sheets, that means if I go to the other sheets, I'll see that same filter. But I didn't put that in to begin with. But by virtue of adding this in and going apply to worksheets, it will now be shown in your other ones as well, as you can see. Okay? And that is how you would combine multiple sheets. One thing I would recommend though is when you're kind of done and you've got your filters set up, go back into each of these individual ones and make sure that you haven't got any extra ones in there that you forgot you left in. Because again, if I have this product, maybe not product name, let's say segment in here, and I'm only doing corporate and home office, that segment only applies to here. So if I go back to my dashboard, it's hard to see that. So it's a little bit of due diligence on your part to make sure that you haven't got any filters that shouldn't be in there. And that's it. So I hope you enjoyed this part on the dashboard, and I'll see you next time.